Hi everyone, a very good evening. You're watching The Money Show on ET Now. I'm Ubina Kapasi and it's a Friday, and for all our regular viewers of The Money Show, you know what we have lined up on Friday. It'll be an all-exclusive panel of entrepreneurial ladies who have made their mark in the world out there, and the topic that we will be discussing today is social media. How entrepreneurs need to harness the power of social media to boost their business, to boost their reputation, as well as, of course, to constantly be in the limelight. We're going to be discussing how women are using social media for their business and why not having your business's presence on social media can be extremely detrimental. So that's what we have lined up today. I'm going to be introducing a very special panel of guests as well on the show in just moments from now. And then later on the show, we will also be talking about the different deals with respect to credit cards. And the reason why we'll be delving into this is, as we all know, we have the big billion sales, we have the great Indian sales, whatever you want to call it. We have all of those sales that are currently lined up online, and I'm sure it's tempting all of you all to quickly log in and grab the best deals out there. But what are the things you should be careful of? Which are the cards that are giving you the most exciting offers? All of this is what we'll be discussing on The Money Show today. But before I kickstart the show, Amazon Sambhav India, in partnership with Niti Aayog and powered by the Times Network through their Great Indian Seller series, showcases the untold stories of karigars, kiranas, women entrepreneurs, innovators, and many such Amazon sellers who are a part of the Amazon India marketplace. One such story is that of Anveshan. Take a look.
We are selling different kinds of food products, and we are 3 founders of this startup, and we have lot of these packaging units in Tier 1 cities जहाँ पे हमारे products pack होके dispatch होते हैं.
We come under the grocery section or the gourmet and food section. अन्वेषण में the idea is minimally processed, पुराने तरीकों से बनाई हुई चीज़ें. Initially we launched wood pressed oils. So we have groundnut oil, मूंगफली का तेल, तिल का तेल, sesame oil, सरसों का तेल, mustard oil, and coconut oil या नारियल का तेल. So these are the 4 oils that we launched initially.
Amazon से हम लास्ट अक्टूबर में ऑनबोर्ड हुए थे, एंड तभी हम Amazon लॉन्चपैड के प्रोग्राम में भी एनरोल हो गए थे, एंड इट हैज़ बीन अ फिनोमिनल जर्नी विद देम सो फार. कोविड जस्ट स्टार्ट हुआ था, एकदम से चीज़ें बंद हो गई थी, देन थिंग्स वर बैड फॉर अस फॉर सम टाइम, बट व्हेन बेसिकली गवर्नमेंट लिफ्टेड द बैन ऑन एसेंशियल आइटम्स, एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इट काइंड ऑफ बूम फॉर अस.
Amazon was very seamless और उन्होंने इंश्योर किया कि सारे प्रोडक्ट्स सेफली और फुल हाइजीन कंडीशन के साथ कोविड में भी पहुंचते रहें कस्टमर्स को विद इन द स्टिपुलेटेड टाइम.
यूजली जो भी हम सेल्स करते हैं, वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग कि एटलीस्ट 3 to 4 टाइम्स हमारी सेल्स हो ड्यूरिंग दिस एंटायर सीजन.
So this year we are expecting कि like easily 4 to 5x growth in sales during this great Indian sale.
जो भी अगर कोई बिजनेस स्टार्ट कर रहा है लाइक फूड में या किसी भी स्पेस में, आई वुड सजेस्ट दैट फर्स्ट दे शुड ट्राई आउट विद ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म बिकॉज इट इज़ वेरी ईजी टू ऑपरेट फ्रॉम देयर. देन दे शुड डेफिनेटली ट्राई टू ऑप्ट फॉर सम प्रोग्राम.
Amazon is a very seamless and a beautiful place for someone to start a business.
Well, without any further ado, let's kickstart our show, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce our panel for today. First up, introducing Neha Sethi. She is the founder of Swedish House Mafia, and she needs no introduction. Neither do her famous cookies need no introduction for those living especially in Mumbai. She's a banker turned into a baker with a little help from Facebook and Twitter. Saloni Surti is the editor of Social Samosa, and she helps entrepreneurs understand the nuances of social media with nothing but their smartphones. Moving on, Payal Parikh is the founder of Miss Fetch, an online clothing brand. She's also herself a social media content creator who's using tough times like COVID to stay relevant to her followers and her viewers. And finally, Shan Khanna, who's the founder of Networking Now India and also Spicy Sangria. She's got her hands full as her platform itself gives repute, recognition to 51,000 members and counting. Also gives them a place to market themselves. Ladies, many thanks for joining us today on ET Now. It's a pleasure having you, all of us, having all of you with us, pardon me. Well, Neha, let's start off with you first, because, you know, our topic for today, which is about, you know, enhancing, you know, your business using social media, is something, I suppose, which was your brainchild of sorts, if you could call it that, because you literally did just that. And I'm going to let you introduce how the brand started to our viewers. So, Neha, why don't you start off with that? How Swedish House Mafia was actually the brainchild of not just you, but of social media as well, in a way. Okay, let me just get back to Neha in a bit, but Saloni Surti, over to you then. You know, today, I mean, social media is an inevitable part of all of our lives. I mean, that's the reason why the mobile phones are usually called a sixth finger, right? Do you think that for businesses, not being present on social media is, I think, the first biggest mistake you can make?
Yeah, definitely. See, for me, asking why social media is essential for a business is as good as asking why social media is essential for a consumer, right? It has become a part of their existence, of their personality. They reflect the kind of life they want to lead or they are leading on social media. It is all out there, right? And especially in the past 6 months, when you see the whole digital revolution that happened, you know, with COVID-19, like just a simple Google search will reveal, yeah, all the spike in number of internet users and social media users, right? So your consumers are out there. If we see our own parents, if we see our own grandparents, they are out there. They are on social media. They are there doing their research, finding these, you know, swanky kitchen appliances and really creative ways to organize your drawer. And in the process, they are making those purchase decisions. They are out there. They are having those conversations. Sometimes to make a purchase, right, to convert the decision into a purchase, sometimes they don't even have to leave the app. Like with all these new features, the purchase is done within the social media app itself, right? So I think not being on social media is definitely one of the biggest mistakes you can make, right? Because you need to be where the consumers are, and consumers now are proactive. They like to be a part of the conversation. They like to be a part of the story, and that's what you need to do. You need to make them a part of your story.
All right. Absolutely. You know, and that's what I think some of even the most traditional, you know, brands have been doing. Shan Khanna, let me go across to you. You know, you interact with so many individuals and I'm sure, you know, you hear all of their stories, etc. How do you, you know, what's the sense you get from them? Do you think that, you know, there are people out there who regret that why didn't I sort of, you know, use social media for my business right at the beginning? Shan, the question was for you. Of all the members that you interact with of Networking Now India, do you think that there are people out there who think that why did I not just, you know, put my business forward on, you know, social media earlier? And also, does age of the business have to do anything, or does the fact that, you know, a business is B2C or B2B have to do anything about being on social media or not?
Hi, Mobina. Thank you so much for having me here. I lost the complete audio, so I didn't hear the question actually. So if you can hear me now, if you could repeat that, I'd love to answer it.
So I was just trying to talk to you about, when you interact with all of your, you interact with so many entrepreneurs, you interact with so many business people. Do they all tell you that, okay, I wish I was on social media a little earlier? And also, do you think that, social media is only for B2C businesses, or do you think that even B2B businesses need to ensure they have some presence or the other on social media?
Thank you for that question. Actually, I totally agree. It's not only B2C, it is definitely B2B as well. And yes, the first thing they all say is we need to be on social media. Some even say we wish we had started earlier and not paid attention to it, because today businesses really get a chance to showcase themselves. They get new clients, new customers, just through even just one social media platform. So I always tell anyone that asks me, don't go on to every platform that exists, but choose 2 or 3, because social media can really make a business as well. So works for B2B and B2C.
Okay, well, I think we have managed to reconnect with Neha Sethi as well. Neha, like I was saying, your business, has, really blown out there thanks to social media. I remember you started off on Facebook and Twitter, and now, of course, as they say, the rest is history. So why don't you start off with that journey and, take our viewers through how essentially you started off the journey and how social media helped propel it?
Sure. So, I have to admit that Swedish House Mafia is a completely social media born enterprise, because the whole premise of it was that I used to send out cookies in a nano, but the location of it was put on Facebook and Twitter. So there was no other way for people to contact Swedish House Mafia, no other way for people to contact me. That was the only way for them to find where the nano was going to be. And there was, of course, open communication. That there used to be votes about where to send the nano, which locations. People used to decide, people used to vote, and then I used to decide dependent on where people, which place got the maximum votes. So in that sense, it was completely driven by the people on social media. SHM wouldn't exist today if it wasn't for that sort of back and forth with the users back then. And the algorithm that social media, Facebook and Twitter had back then was completely different to what it is right now. I didn't have any sponsored posts, no pushing, no boosting, nothing. Whatever my followers were, whoever they were, they all saw the posts, they all saw the messages, the tweets, the Facebook messages, they all saw everything. And that's how it just grew from and it was word of mouth. So when people saw it, they spread the word, and I guess the users just kept on increasing, and it grew from where it was to now today, which is of course a little bit different, because now, like I said, the algorithms have changed, so you have to spend a little bit on marketing, spending on your ads and your posts and this and that. But yeah, it's a complete product of social media, and that's how it grew. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Facebook and Twitter back then.
Well, I'm pretty sure if social media as well wants to sort of display a success example, they can easily use a Swedish House Mafia, really, Neha. But yeah, a great gumption scene over there. And here's another entrepreneur that has shown gumption, even though, things have been tough in terms of, the economy that we are in thanks to the COVID-19 lockdown. So that's Payal Parekh. She has an online brand called Miss Fetch. But even if things are a bit slow on, the business front, she's once again, sort of ensuring that she makes the most of social media to ensure she and consequently her brand as well stays relevant. So Payal, over to you then. How have you sort of used social media, especially in these last 6-7 months, during the lockdown, to ensure that even if, let's say, Miss Fetch goes low, Payal Parekh is always in business?
Okay, hi Rubina, hi guys. So the thing is that since March, when the whole COVID-19 happened, I saw a lot of drop in sales. I remember the whole month of March, April, May, I had no sales whatsoever. And that's when I realized that I need to I need to push harder, and I started creating a lot of content at home. I started creating a lot of business, a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, styling videos, because people want to see how you are wearing your creation, right? So that really helped me. I created a whole maternity line, and I created that, and I was supposed to launch that in May or June. And then the whole lockdown happened. But luckily, I started collaborating with a lot of influencers and bloggers who were pregnant. So that helped me push my whole maternity line. and we've created a lot of like videos, a lot of pictures that are visually appealing. So that's how I am, continuing with my sales. Of course, sales have dropped, but the whole aspect of posting and being consistent with posting on social media, that's kept me on with my personal brand right now.
Well, that's indeed lovely. Well, folks, there you have it. That's the story of these wonderful ladies. You know what? We're going to open the floor now for the panelists as well to ask each other questions. So, ladies, I'll request you to stay on with me. We're just going to slip into a very short break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. You're watching The Money Show on ET Now. We have a ladies segment on currently, and the topic we're discussing is harnessing the power of social media for your businesses. So now let me throw open the floor to our panelists. They have many more questions that they'd like to ask each other, more relevant, I guess, as well. Them all being entrepreneurs, they're all being social media experts as well. So let me do one thing, Shan. Let me give you the floor first this time. I believe you had a couple of questions, for Saloni, for Neha. So take your pick and, go right ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mobina. Thanks. I can hear now. So I hope you guys can hear me too. Neha, of course, I know about your journey with Swedish House Mafia, and it's one of my favorite brands. I wanted to, of course, ask you and get your insight on, how social media helped Swedish House Mafia grow. Because I remember being one of the buyers when you used to post on Twitter. So what's the story behind that?
Remember Shan very clearly. We've had quite a few incidents in the beginning. But okay, so with regards to it growing, like I mentioned before, we have started, word of mouth, of course, is a big one for us because of our shops. People do buy it, walk-ins, etc. But on social media, it's more about the posts and the ads that we do land up boosting. Honestly, before COVID, we did not have a lot of marketing spend on social media. It was negligible at best. But post-COVID, we have done a sort of pivot where we have our website, which is now launched, and we are actually delivering all across the country. We've delivered to about 170 cities across the country, and that has been mostly due to the posting and the boosting on social media, the ads that we've put on our profiles. So because of that, it's really, really helped. And of course, that marketing budget has increased post-COVID. So that's really helped us to reach a lot of people and increase our presence across a lot of areas and parts of the country. Yeah.
Known as the Batman of the desserts, so congrats to that.
Thank you.
When you have a product to sell, sometimes social media can be really easy, right? Because you have a stated goal that, okay, market your products, inform your followers, your target audience that, look, this is my product, and yeah, there you go. If they like it, it's great. They'll come over to your store or they'll place orders online. But I guess it's a little tricky when you have to sell yourself. And Payal would, of course, be in a better position to answer that. But yeah, Neha, I believe you as well. You had a similar question, for Payal about, how she brands herself.
Yes, so my question, actually, no, I had the question for Saloni. Can I ask her my question?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure, go ahead, Neha.
No, I'm sorry. I just did have a question for Saloni, just because, like I mentioned before, the algorithms have changed. So how would you recommend a new brand approach their branding and their marketing on social media, just because now their reach is reduced so much? And if they don't want to go crazy on a budget, so like on a nominal budget or on a fair budget, how are they expected to reach out to people?
Great. Yeah, actually, I'm really glad you asked this question because, algorithm has something that has affected everyone, right? Irrespective of the industry. And I'll completely answer this from personal experience, right? So when we at Social Samosa, when we first started dealing with the algorithm, even we saw like a certain amount of a dip, or, our regular audiences were not getting our content regularly on their feed, right? So we had to think quick, and what we did was like we took each platform and we figured out what the audience expects from us, right? So if you pick Social Samosa's Instagram page, it is one of the most engaged publication pages on Instagram, right? What we did was we realized, see, on Instagram people come for these quick scrolls. They come to find out what's happening, but they really want it concise. They come for memes, they come to share their opinion, but in a very light-hearted way. So we started a section called Agency Life, right? And under that we started creating these memes and jokes which people in the advertising and marketing industry would relate to. And we opened it up for everyone, where they could create their memes and jokes and ideas, and they could share it with us. And we started doing very snackable content on the platform because that's what people expected from us, right? So see, if you go to see, basically our algorithm is giving users what they want in the form they want. I think what brands need to do is figure out that need gap, what the consumers are expecting from them on a certain platform. Like we see Netflix doing one tweet about Sacred Games and people go bonkers about it. Why does that happen, right? Because they have figured that out. They talk to the audience in their language. They are very chilled out. They are very conversational. They make that effort in making the consumers a part of the story, right? They don't have to go out of the way to probably boost that many of their posts or tweets or memes, right? Because they have picked on that sweet spot, right? So I think what is important is figuring out what your audience is expecting from you and making them a part of your social media strategy, of your communication strategy. Because I think those days are gone where a consumer would see a TVC and then they would make a purchase decision. They would either take it or not. Now the consumers like to be a part of that story. They also want to share their say, and they want to do it with someone who understands them. So I think that's what works on a very qualitative level. On a functional level, it could help you reducing your budget, because you would be putting your energies in where it matters and what your consumers need. I hope that helps.
Okay. All right. Well, I think the question that I was asking earlier was something that not only me, but I think Shan as well was quite inquisitive about. So, Shan, I think you can shoot your question to Payal.
Yeah, Payal. So, of course, I love what you do, and your page is great. I wanted to ask you, one, of course, how tough is it for you to monetize your page? And secondly, how do you approach clients? This is a big question a lot of people ask. What's the best way to collaborate? Do you approach them? Do they approach you? So to the monetization and the collaboration, how does it work?
Sure. So the thing is that I just recently started blogging. I took that up like right now in the whole COVID bit. I realized that I always style things. I always put videos and photos about it, but I never thought of doing it as a business. But this whole pandemic gave me that little insight that I should make it a business. So there is a lot of competition, to be honest. There are so many people out there who want to blog, who want to talk about things and stuff. So it is tough for me in the beginning, I wouldn't lie. But of course, I am getting there, right? Like, it's tough. It's a tough journey, but this is just the beginning. And to talk about how do I collaborate with brands? So a lot of brands DM me. They prefer emailing me. A lot of brands who already know me, and they have my number. They probably drop in a text. So and sometimes if I feel like this brand would resonate my style and I would be able to do justice to them, I reach out to them. But so I mean, it's a two-way thing, and yeah, is that whoever wants to start blogging or take that up as a side career too, or your main career, I feel like collaboration is the key in this time and age. You have to collaborate to grow.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? I must say, we've been seeing, at least I have been seeing personally, I have shamelessly consumed a lot of content on YouTube and Instagram and what have you during this, during this lockdown. And we have seen so many new YouTube channels, so many new bloggers as well, crop up really during this lockdown, right? And Payal, I just have a follow-up question actually on that. How do you ensure that you sort of stand out in the crowd? Because it's not something that's new. It's not novel anymore. So, I mean, how would you essentially or what would you recommend for those individuals who do want to take up social media, as a profession or as a mainstay way of making money? What would be your recommendation, since you already do have quite a bit of experience handling social media, again thanks to your clothing brand?
So what I would say is that you need your own USP. Like every individual has their own different USP. Like for example, I may do a different a thing in a different manner, but a different blogger would do it in a different way. So you need to know what you are good at and be true to yourself, right? Like today, if a person's doing something and I like it, but that doesn't mean I'm able to do the same thing. But I need to know what am I good at and stick to that. So you need to be true to yourself and just stick to your own USP. So when people look back and they have that recall value, they can absolutely remember that, oh my God, okay, so this thing is her. So it's just that the recall value that you create by being true to yourself and having your own USP and sticking to that, having your own aesthetics basically.
Absolutely. It's a very simple mantra, just be yourself, stick to what you think you're, good at, and, sort of use social media to propel your personal brand that will help you as well stand out. Speaking of something that, Payal was mentioning earlier and how she approaches brands, it's all about networking, right? And I believe in that aspect, Neha, you had a question for Shan, who of course does have the very reputed Networking Now, which has 51,000 members. Neha, shoot your question.
So Shan, of course, Networking Now is doing amazingly. I just wanted to ask you, I know you started it off as a means to connect people with different proficiencies. What I was wondering is, when did you decide to monetize it, and how did you decide to do it the way you are doing it?
Thanks, Neha. That's a great question. So, I started this about 6 years ago, and it was kind of on a whim because I realized that I had friends calling me up and saying, where do I get this? Help me get the best deal on something. And I was really fed up of kind of, crowdsourcing information and passing it on. So I decided to create a Facebook group, which kind of grew from 10 to 100 to 1,000 and eventually 50,000, and we are continuously growing. I truly believe, like Mobina mentioned, networking is key for every business, and for every, collaboration is key, networking is key. And I don't like it when people look at networking in a negative way. It should be very positive, and that's the reason I've taken on this cause and started this community. For me, it's about, the reason I decided to monetize it was to make it more authentic, to make it a subscription platform where people could actually, reach out to others for help. So say, Neha, you worked so well, with social media for Swedish House Mafia. Saloni does some great stuff with Social Samosa. And of course, Payal is doing the blogging bit and her brand. It would be so nice for everyone to come together and learn from each other. So I think that's my idea, is bringing the community together. The reason we made it a subscription platform was to kind of make it more authentic. So I truly believe every brand should get on the social media bandwagon and should network as much as they can. We are a growing community, and I see people asking for help, which is the best thing. We used to shy away from asking for help for the longest time. Today, people are willing to get on a call with someone they don't know, or meet for a coffee pre-COVID times with someone that they don't know, just to help them out. So I think for me, that's a big win, and I hope to grow to bigger numbers.
Of course you will. You're going to be amazing. You are amazing, and you're just going to grow more.
Thank you.
Well, Shan, I'm glad you, piqued my interest in that idea. It's already called Networking Now, and we already are ET Now, so we can probably look at some sort of amalgamation between the two words. Okay, just closing comments. Saloni, my question is for you. We are, like I mentioned in the earlier bit of my conversation, right, that we are in the midst of the coronavirus. Businesses are not really doing as well as they were a couple of months ago. But of course, at the same time, you have to market, you have to ensure you stay relevant. And like Neha mentioned, now social media has got a little more sophisticated. You have all these post boosts and page boosts, so on and so forth. What would you recommend entrepreneurs, simple ways on how they can sort of market themselves on social media, do so with a budget? Do you think that's possible? Do you think social media gives that sort of flexibility?
Definitely. In fact, I would like to point out that some of the most famous content creators in the world and in India started with nothing but their smartphone, right? They reached where they are by consistently putting out relevant content day after day, only nothing through but with their smartphone. It is one of the biggest myths that you probably need like swanky equipment and these big ass budgets to sort of make social media marketing work. That's just not true. Right, I'll just give you like a small example. So in this lockdown, everyone was constricted at home. You couldn't really go out, you couldn't do your fruit and vegetable shopping, and everything was happening online, right? And during this time on social media, I came across this person who is in Himachal Pradesh, who works on an apple farm, and he would put up these stories about how a new batch of apples is ripe today, or how they saw a different kind of worm, and they had to remove the worm and stuff like that. They would put also functional messages of how they would deliver the fresh apples anywhere in the country within 48 hours. And I really liked where they were coming from. I liked being a part of their story. I liked to know what was going down over there every day, and I ended up ordering those apples. So it really doesn't matter if you have a big budget or if you have a lot of equipment. I think what you need is a lot of discipline, because putting out consistent content, especially during such trying times, it requires a lot of discipline. It requires a lot of conviction. You might need some sort of aesthetic training, or you might need some off the web basic training to understand how to create a social media plan. But once you have that, it is very much doable, right? I know a lot of these organic silk sari creators from Assam who do nothing but just tweet, right? They tweet stories about their karigars, and they would put a single picture of of their sari in the tweet and something like that. But they have these amazing, probably not as good as pre-COVID times, but they have their sales going on right now, right? They are doing something. Obviously, eventually, once your social media marketing efforts have reached that scale where you have started earning from it, and it's time to expand, you might need a support system. You might need that kind of equipment or someone to help you out. But even before that, it is very much possible and doable.
Thanks, Mo. Huh? And I think, the most amazing example of social media success has got to be the more recent Baba Ka Dhaba. And it wasn't even his social media page that he was handling. It was such a glorious and a beautiful example of how, social media brought the community together. And just help an 80-year-old couple, 80-plus-year-old couple, make their small little shop such a huge success. But on that note, Payal, Saloni, Neha and Shan, it was lovely talking to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that all the viewers watching, the entrepreneurs watching, have attained a couple of pearls of wisdom from you on how you guys have managed to grow your businesses on social media, on how they themselves as well can manage their social media, bring their business on social media. YouTube channel. If you want to sort of catch this entire conversation, you can do so by logging on to ET Now's YouTube channel. We'll be putting up this entire conversation on there. For now, we'll take a very short break.